Ilya Dragunov kicked off this week's episode of NXT. Boy, he was mad. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to Ups and Downs, the review show with me, Simon Miller, and just obey the t-shirt, Goofy Wrestling for Life. And in many ways, NXT is the epitome of that. Everything is so damn silly, and I totally love it. Let's up those downs. But yeah, the NXT champion was in the ring, and he was just yelling up. Man, this Carmelo Hayes, he's an absolute idiot. Now I want to talk to him right now. Hayes must have been way behind the curtain too, because he just walked out instantly, and his response was, well, Ilya, just so you know, I think you're a moron. So they were an impasse. Carmelo also had a bunch of security guards protecting him because he has gone bad guy now, and he was all like, oh, Ilya Dragunov, you're just mad that I've been manipulating you for the last few months. I was like, has he really been doing that? I mean, that was his attempt. Don't know if he was that successful. Carmelo's big thing is also that he will not get into the ring until Ava Raine presents him with a contract to fight for that championship. He meant this literally too. He stood outside the squared circle for the whole time. Hayes then decided he was going to give all these folk till the end of the night, otherwise he is going away. And then while Ilya tried to beat up some of these security guards, the segment sort of just ended. This was really weird. And look, I love these two. They are top tier talent. If they do get their chance on the main roster, they will absolutely smash it. But this was essentially just setting up something for later in the night. You could have got rid of it, and it wouldn't have made any difference. So this one was lost on me, and my bald head down. We were then in the back with Ava Raine, and I swear, this was like a cutscene from WWE 2K. Because the first Gigi Dolin was here, and she went up to Ava and was all like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing anymore, please give me something to do. When Jaida Parker was also here, she was like, oh man, I need something to do. So Ava Raine just looked at both of them and went, shrug emoji, why don't you fight each other? That's gonna happen later. NXT is the best. Kelani Jordan was out after this, and she's been winning Rookie of the Year awards recently. Isn't it wonderful? She was also taking on Kiana James, who had Izzy Dave in her corner, mostly because these two have been being goobers recently. And surprise, surprise, they continued this on, because what did Izzy do? She kept casting interference. Jordan still tried to use the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, to get the win. And I was impressed with that because it means she has been studying tape. But when she went for a springboard, holy crap, man, Izzy grabbed her foot and Jordan went right into the ring apron, which was the hardest part of the ring. That looked brutal. It opened the door for James as well because she hit the deal breaker and she got the 1, 2, 3. I was like, man, those two stole it. I also want to point out that Kelani did this amazing moonsault at 1.2, so she will go far. But I quite like this. Thought it was a rather fun match. When a lot of things started to make sense. Now, I made this prediction on last week's episode of Ups and Downs, so I feel smug. But it really does feel like Gallows and Anderson have returned to NXT, because it was revealed over the last 24 hours, Tama Tonga has signed a deal with WWE, and those three guys were all tying together. Now listen, on the subject of Tama, I know that he once tried to kill me, I'll never get over it, but that dude has been smashing it for years, he deserves this, and you just know that momentum will continue, he is pretty damn good. Otherwise, the OC were taking on Edris, Enofè, and Malik Blade. There were some rumours recently that these two were injured. Well, not by what I saw. They went nuts. Malik did get whipped for a while, but it just meant Enofè was warming up his hand because he was waiting for the hot tag. And like I say, when he did get in there, he was like, I don't care, you're on the main roster, Gallows and Anderson. And he whooped him. They really are getting better and better too, and that's so damn cool to see. Although poor Blade, all went terrible for him. He got thrown into Simba the Steel Step. Enofè also got spine busted so you could see the writing on the wall, and it created space for Gallows and Anderson, so they hit the magic killer, Uno Dos Tres. That's a win. So I'm going to suppose the group will be revitalized because of the arrival of Tama Tonga, and we kind of did a repeat of last week's episode here, because Chase U came out and said, Gallows and Anderson, we don't like you very much, when all of a sudden,
Fraser and Axiom.
They're like, listen, we don't like you either, and we all want a tag team title shot. This is when the LWO teleported in for the Starship Enterprise, and they attacked Gallows and Anderson. Everybody started to brawl. When the Wolf Dogs appeared, they were like, we don't care, man, we got the belts. This was crazy. But it's probably going to end in some kind of crazy tag team match, maybe even next week. You could do the 4-way. This was totally fine by me, and they are all very good teams. That's nice. We then had more madness with Ava Raine after this. What is happening? But Ilya Dragunov had gone to see her, because of course he needs to sort out the Kamala Hayes situation, when Oba Femi was already there, and mostly because they are both champions, they stared at each other, and that was it. I mean, I guess it was a big deal. It's also very, very bonkers. It did mean that right after this, Roxanne Perez continued her madness. Mostly because she's not happy, everybody else keeps getting title shots. She was also facing Jakara Jackson though, mostly because as we do know, Roxanne was not able to get the championship last week because she was in the shower, but Lash Legend did, and because Jakara is the friend of Lash, she fell out with Roxy here because Perez wasn't a big fan of hers. I think that's correct. It is kind of interesting too, because you could kind of make the argument that Roxanne was in the right here, but as of late she has been hinting at a heel turn. Maybe she's just using this brand new character to have more edge. Not Adam Copeland. Perez also yelled at Lash to begin here, meaning she totally forgot about Jackson, who attacked her from behind. But this was like the first match in reverse, because even though Legend kept interfering, eventually the ref was like, why? Why do you make my life so hard? You gotta go to the back. See ya. Now there was a little tease that maybe Jakara was going to win, but that was never going to happen. So instead, Perez went, smacked her right in the face, and there's that word. She applied the crossface, her brand new favorite move. She got the tap out win. So I really don't know what's going on here. It's a stupid thing to say, but I'm a big fan of Angry Perez. For that reason alone, I'm giving it enough. And don't forget, she is all pissed off because she was in the shower. This is why NXT does rule. And that continued on because we were then talking about the Chase U calendars. Because while these did help the school, it's not helped the friendships. Because Thea Hale basically got sad here because JC Jane, well, she's not really giving her the time of day anymore. This is mostly because Kiana James is now getting involved here too, meaning Thea has been left on the outside. We did a close-up shot of Hale's face here after they had all skipped off. So you're just like, man, I don't have any friends anymore. I smell a breakup coming. Gallows and Anderson were then setting out their stall too, because they went and found the wolf dogs. For whatever reason though, this did feel like a big deal, and I have no idea why. But I am a little bit worried that Gallows and Andersons will win the championships. Now, I have no problem with that, but it could be because we're going to break up Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin, because of course Bron has signed with SmackDown, and I don't need that in my life. They are so good together, you got to keep them together for at least a year. That's what my invisible watch says. When we had the best match ever. But screw the moves, I don't need any of that, and instead we had Dijak taking on Luca Crusifino, because last week Luca had said to Dijak, you do know that kidnapping against the law. And because Dijak doesn't care about your rules, they're going to have a fight. Round of applause all round. This was mostly just so Dijak could kill him as well, although Crusifino did get a little thing in there. But after he had one, Joe Gacy ran out, and he's still in the straitjacket. That has been 2 weeks. Why is nobody helping this guy? When they did brawl to the back as well, Luca got a crowbar and he hid it behind Simba the Steel Steps. Now, the dictionary should come and arrest me because using the word hide there is totally inappropriate. But then we zoomed to the back and the Angelo family were like, yeah, awesome, sweet. We should bring him into the family or something. I honestly thought I'd taken drugs. So I thought that Luca was already part of the damn family because he's their lawyer. But I just enjoyed all of this because once again, NXT is so nutty, but it has so much personality, and that makes me happy. Later on too, we did find out that Dijak and Gacy are going to be having an Asylum cage match as well. I don't think we've had one of those since Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. There's a couple of names, but honestly, I had a roller coaster good time. Lyra Valkyria was out next. I swear she's trying to be a teacher. She was just saying that Shotzi is great and she'll be back from her injury soon, and Lash Legend, you're great as well. You gave me a great challenge last week, although you still lost. This carried on because she's proud of Tatum Paxley, who did not get involved 7 days ago. I was like, that's a low bar. All we said to Tatum was, don't come to the ring, and she did it. Have a cookie. Now, Paxley did arrive, as requested, and she was so damn proud of herself. I do find this character quite fun. And do you know what the reward for not doing something was? Lyra was like, at the next pay-per-view premium live event or special show, whatever the hell we're calling it, it's gonna be you and I taking on the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles. What? Now look, I am a big fan of what we're doing with these belts recently, because finally they are being featured. Don't forget, in 2023, sometimes they just vanish. But this was the ultimate geese title shot, and you know how I feel about a GTS. Now, I could be wrong, my brain is stupid, but I don't think that Lyra and Tatum have ever even teamed together, and now they're just getting championship opportunities. Like, if it's that easy, why doesn't Stax walk out and go, Roman Reigns, I want a shot at your undisputed belt? That makes just as much sense. It's 2 + 2 = potato. I don't know why it winds me up so much. The grand scheme of thing, it doesn't matter. But as I always tell you, I'm an idiot. It's my show. Down. I kind of felt like Rich Holland must have felt the same because he interrupted this. And given how wrestling works, I was like, is he going to beat up Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley? Actually, he just wanted to talk. I think he was going to defend himself because we're meant to think he's out of control and he keeps injuring people, which is a half-truth. But before he could say much of anything, the lights went out. I was like, man, why does nobody pay the bill? Now instead we got someone saying these words. It's so strange, I'm just going to read it. Truth will prevail, but there is pain bringing it to light. Now that is utterly gibberish. But then in the ring, a hooded figure arrived. He smacked Ridge Holland with a chair. And if you can believe it, Shawn Spears, the former Ty Dillinger, is back in NXT. Not gonna lie, I popped big. This really was his AEW presentation too, and look, we didn't even have a whisper about this, so it felt like a massive surprise, and I like that guy, and him being at NXT makes all the sense in the world. I'm pretty sure he runs a school too, so he can help the young ones. This is a great move. So I really did think this was fun, and I like fun. I'm genuinely intrigued to see what he is going to do. That's a bravo. Up. Brooks Jensen then challenged Oba Femi, and he did this in the NXT parking lot, which is very dangerous. I was like, listen, Brooks, I appreciate your moxie, but you are going to be killed. We also went straight into Von Wagner versus Lexis King after this, with Robert Stone in his corner. So this feud must continue. Now Lexis had a really good plan here because he went after Von's leg because he is a big guy. But after Wagner started slamming him, they fell out of the ring. Now this was important because do you know who accidentally, kind of not really, got hit to the floor? It was Robert Stone. So Von Wagner was like, no! It's his best friend. It actually turned out to be a double tease though because I was like, oh, that's how Lexis King is going to win. But no, instead Robert got on the ring apron, he cast distraction when of all the moves given his size, Von Wagner used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, and he got the 3. Lexis was so pissed afterwards he went and beat everybody up, so once again we are going to have to do this match at some point. A little bit worried that NXT wants to turn Von Wagner heel again. Don't do it. Still, I am a big fan of this buddy-buddy relationship, and if Lexis does dick them over, well, that does suit his character. Tatum and Lyra were then getting excited about their tag team title shot later, but they were doing this in the women's locker room. As we know, that's a treacherous place to be. That was about to happen too, because Jaida Parker was having none of this, when Ariana Grace, who could be the best character in NXT, just swanned in and basically said, I don't think we should fight. We should use our words. And don't forget, we're all champions in our hearts. I was like, Ariana, you deserve a prize. Parker then called Grace's crown dumb. She was genuinely offended by this. And it's actually going to tie into the next match. Because it was indeed Jaida Parker taking on Gigi Dolin. I'm just going to give it an up straight away. Once again, nothing to do with what they did in the ring. But Ariana Grace came out during this. And I think, 1, she was upset because she lost her crown. And 2, she wanted them to stop fighting on a wrestling show. That's it. Best wrestler ever. Dolin wasn't impressed, especially because at one point Ariana just grabbed her arm. So Gigi slapped her right around the face, but she shouldn't have done that because Parker was like, man, if you're not going to pay attention to me, I'm going to punch you right in the face. And she pinned her. I mean, that's literally what happened. Now again, this made me so damn happy, I'm going to give it an up. It's the same up I just gave it. But at this point, overall, you do have to give this particular episode of NXT a down, because nearly every single match featured some sort of interference or some sort of distraction. Now look, it tickles me, but when I start noticing it, it's a bit like, man, I think you're using this as a crutch. I mean, keep doing it for all I care. It does not matter, but you still got to give it a down. It's out of control. When we did have our match of the Heritage Cup, and of course Noam Dar was all like shrug emoji, I don't know what's going on, because which member of the no quarter catch crew am I going to take on? It turned out it was Charlie Dempsey. It turned out Noam had not prepared correctly at all. Ruh-roh. Now, I really did like this because it came out of nowhere, because not only do we have a brand new Heritage Cup champion, but Dar can now be like, well, I'm sorry, I had to try and get ready for 4 different people. It's not my fault. Kind of true. We started hot too, because in full 1, Dempsey was able to hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, to go 1-0 up, and we didn't get another fall until round 4. That's when Noam evened up the score using his moves, and I think this must have freaked Miles Bourne out, because at the start of round 5, he just tried to interfere, which is when both teams on either side was like, well, if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it too. And essentially, we had a big old schmoz. Now, oddly, it was Noam who kind of started smashing people from the quarter catch crew. But because he was, I suppose, distracted, Charles grabbed him, he hit him with the bridging suplex, and he pinned him for the 1-2-3. So that cup is now his. Ooh la la. Now, maybe I'm getting carried away here, but there was a slight idea that maybe we're about to turn the metaphor face. But like I say, I don't really know why I'm saying that. But otherwise, I am going to give it an up. Not only was it a good wrestling match, but the surprise ending Make me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. And of course, once again, Noam next week can explode. He'll be totally justified. Shawn Spears then spoke in more riddles when he left the building, but let us know he will be at Roadblock next week. Like I told you earlier, I just think this is good stuff. Which meant our last segment was indeed going to be the proper face-to-face between Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes. That just goes back to what I said earlier. Why didn't we just do this bit? It really did get good though, because there was a massive twist here, because Tony D'Angelo came out, and last week he'd been going, oh man, and the Don of NXT, which he proved right here. He clicked his fingers, and all of Carmelo's security guards left the ring. As it turned out, they actually work for the fans. So I thought that was pretty cool because I am a nerd and Big Tone was all like, man, you don't have to be a champion to run things around here. But he does not want to go Geese title shot, which I appreciate massively. And he turned to Carmelo and he was like, well, next week at Roadblock, how about it's you versus me and it's me versus you and whoever wins becomes the #1 contender. Bam. Now, Ilya was fine with this, though it kind of did feel like D'Angelo had paid everybody off. But Carmelo, well, he was pissed. He just wants his title shot. They then got into kind of a pushing contest, which is when Dragunov kind of accidentally got hit by Tony D'Angelo. And that happens to this poor guy all of the time. But Carmelo used that to his advantage, and he started throwing people through tables. Now, that must have given him a step in his pep, or a pep in his step, or something like that, because he did sign the deal. So now next week, the match is on. So I do think this was a nice twist, especially because it extends the feud. And of course, who can screw over Carmelo next week so he doesn't go for the championship? Hopefully, it will be a returning Trick Williams. That's good storytelling, my friends. So as ever, NXT just knows exactly what it is, and it is so over the top. Actually, I do understand why it may not be for some people, but it's totally for this bored a-hole. Give it a up. Now, please do click the video on the screen, which is Ups and Downs for Raw, to continue on your Ups and Downs adventure. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head on over to, I don't know, the pub, or the restaurant, or the bar, whatever you plan to do today. Maybe you just want to go to sleep. I want to do that. That's fine too. Goodbye.